Welcome to Trapping Radio. My name is Sarah Gomez, and I'll be doing the show this week. We're here at the NTA. I'm in Clint Locklear's truck, actually. I figured if I could talk to anybody about needing a quiet place to do an interview at a busy place, Clint would know and understand. So I just said, hey, Clint, can I do an interview in your truck? And he knew exactly what I meant. So if you hear some background noise, it's the air conditioner running because it is hot outside. Not as hot as it was yesterday, but it's warming up this afternoon. So if you hear the air conditioner, that's what that is. And I have a special guest here in the truck with me, Mr. Bobby Collins. What state are you from?
Illinois.
Illinois. I just met Bobby. He stopped by the booth, and all you said was something about Trapping Radio and taking it over, and my smart mouth said to you, well, why don't you just get back here and you can be on the show on Friday. And you called my bluff, and you came right behind the booth. I was eating some nachos. I said, well, your right now and my right now is a little different. So we met up today. So Bobby's here in the truck with me, and we just turned on the recorder. We don't really have quite a game plan, and we just met. So you're along for the conversation with us as we get into it. But let's see. I guess we better thank our sponsors for being part of the show. Couldn't do it without them. Our first one is F&T Fur Harvesters. Everything you need for hunting with hounds, predator calling, and trapping. I think that's in the wrong order, but you get the idea. They have a special announcement coming up here soon, and maybe in the next week or two we'll be talking about that. So that's their news to tell and their announcement to make, so stay tuned for that. And then we have Funky Trap Tags with Alan Sayer, and we're set up in the same building with him at the NTA, so it's always fun to see him and send people his direction. He's got a lot of odds and ends stuff and just about everything you need. So that takes care of the sponsors, and so let's get into it, Bobby. Like I said, we just kind of met, so what do you do? Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Bobby Collins. I trap year round. I do ADC. I love to take raccoons out of attics for little old ladies and out of their decks and things like that. Especially when they come up scratching on their doors and windows, and they come kind of screaming. And my motto is I want to be your hero.
Aww. Yep, I can see that. They think the animals are so cute and fluffy until they have a problem, and then they call needing your help is super important at that point when they need it, at the time they need it.
All right. And we try to get there right away and deal with the issues. And our biggest thing is educating people on some of the raccoon diseases that are going on right now, and let them know. And sometimes they are asking if what we do with the raccoons, and we be honest with them. We tell them that our state law tells us that raccoons need to be euthanized, especially right now because there's so many of them, and that we're approaching the danger zone for disease, and we're going to lose a lot of them. And our local dog catcher's he's picked up 50 some last year, and he's on track to pick up 50 more this year that have been diseased. Mm-hmm. And they're out in the yard, and we don't want your pet to get hurt or to catch these diseases. So that's a lot of it right there. Mm-hmm. I've been doing some moling. We've had dry year, and moles they'll come up and then they'll go right back down real deep, and they're tearing up these big yards and things, and so we do a little of that. Mm-hmm. And then I fur trap in the winter time also.
Yeah. So how did you get started? I assume that you were did you start trapping at a young age and was a fur trapper for a while, and then how did you decide to make it into a business all year round?
Well, in the 70s, my dad seen that I had an interest in trapping, and he was a trapper at his young age, and he hadn't done it for quite a while. So we had an old 48 Chevy pickup, and we loaded it down with some traps and things like that. And then he started teaching me to trap, and we trapped until I got out of high school. That was in 72. And then I kind of got away from it after getting in the working world. And my brother was trapping during the fur boom, and I was giving him a hard time about not making any money. Then I found out he was, and so after the fur boom, I started thinking about it again, and just raising a family and everything, it was kind of hard to get going. But after my daughter was pretty much raised, and I started it back up again, and I had some buddy farmers that were having raccoon and coyote problems, and then one of them came up with the beaver, and then that's when it really went nuts. I started in the first year was just to get used to doing it all again, and I started really catching quite a few beaver that first year. And then from that I started talking to the levee district managers, and I got in with them, and I started getting opportunities to trap for the levee district, and then we started paying me bounty and some mileage on it, and then I picked up another levee district and to do it, and some DNR properties to start doing some work for the DNR and some of their beaver problems. And then the ADC's thing started, and the dog catcher called me and asked me if he could use my name, and the business is on.
Yeah.
So that's basically my story. I mean, then I met a guy a few years ago back up in when the Illinois had their convention. I met Dave Cyphers, and Dave he's a walking, talking biologist is what he is. But we talk basically every day, and he's helped me, and we bump ideas off of one another. It's not like it used to be back in the day when the old trappers were all hush-hush. Now it's guys bounce ideas off of one another. They trust one another, or they don't. I mean, we're separated by a couple 100 miles, but the thing of it is, we catch stuff.
So he's an ADC trapper as well?
Also.
Okay.
Also, yeah.
That's wonderful that, like you said, you can bounce ideas, and you can help each other out.
And not only that, we're helping people.
Right.
We're helping the customer.
Yeah.
Somebody who thinks that coon is going to tear him up or give him a disease or something going on. We provide a service.
Yep.
So that's basically what we do. That's where I am.
Do you do the bat work and all of that stuff too?
No, I don't do bat work. I'm 69 years old, and I'm not one for going to climb up in houses and seal every hole.
Okay.
You bat work, and you have to guarantee it. There are some younger guys. Jordan McGinnis, he's a very good bat guy, and give him the work. And if there's somebody that wants to come up in the Quincy area and do bat work, I bet you I can keep you busy.
Well, I bet that's another beauty in it, is if you can build a team where you specialize in different things. You can, like you said, if your goal is to help people, which it is, you can, really build a network of people, like you said, that are good at certain things.
I had a pest control company call me a month or two ago and asked me the same question as the dog catcher did. Can we use your name to put that? I said, I'd love to be your trapper. And we had a good conversation, and they have kept me busy because they don't have the license to do what I do, and I do, and they're happy. And I tell people that use them. They're good, honest people. That the O'Donnell Company, they really have done a marvelous job with keeping me busy, and they do good work, and they're somebody I would have at my house.
I liked how when you were telling their story of how you got started was you started small and you just kind of took one step at a time. You started, doing a little bit and then a little bit and a little bit, and you just kind of kept growing while you were working, elsewhere. I think that's important. I hear a lot of guys who say, I love trapping. I love it. I just want to do trapping every day for the rest of my life. That's what I want to do. And they've gone out and they can catch a few raccoons in the wild and think, be an ADC trapper. And I think there's
it's a
more.
different ball game. It's a lot of educating the public. You've got to be a person who likes talking to people. As you can tell, I like talking. So you get those people, and not only that, sometimes you have to convince them that the things that you're doing, they may not completely agree with you, but they understand why you have to do it. And you have to be able to be patient with people.
Sure.
The good Lord gave me a word a few weeks ago. It was time and patience.
Aw, yep.
So
very true.
I try to live up to it. And sometimes it's time and patience with the people you're working with, and sometimes it's time and patience waiting on a stubborn raccoon to come out of a hole.
Yeah.
So that's, it's all part of the game.
Yep. I like how we were talking earlier, and you said that it's so much communication with the homeowner that you're up next. I'm coming to your house next. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm 15 minutes away, or I'm 30 minutes away, and just to keep them informed. I thought, that's a small customer service detail that means a lot.
We've talked about that. Dave and I have talked about that a lot, is to communicate to your customer, and it's all about communications. I put up a website. I spent the money to build a website and put it up, and it's Bobby Collins Wildlife Services, and Dave's is Dave Cypher's Wildlife Services over in his area. And those people, the modern mother or modern housewife, younger millennials and all that, they go to the web and they look for people, and there's nobody in my area. So I had a gentleman call me about a raccoon, and he told me that he had a business that he called, and they said that they would do what I do, but they aren't licensed to do what I do. So they use that to get some business, but it was that they wanted to repair the inside of their attic after the raccoon has stripped wiring and doing all this sort of damage, that they do, or fix the hole in the house. I don't fix the holes in the houses other than to put a plug on it until they get somebody to do that. I'm too busy.
Yep.
I'm too busy.
Yep. But like you said, communication's important. They line that up next. Yep. I just started to get to know our neighbors, and we're just busy people. We stick to it. We stick to ourselves at the house. And I thought, I'm just going to get to know the neighbors a little bit. And it's summertime, so we all have dogs, and we all go on walks with the dogs every morning. We walk 2 miles, and me and another lady. Anyway, we met the neighbor, and I just met her, and she friended me on Facebook and found out that we were trappers. And a lot of people call. Once they see you're a trapper, they don't, like you said, education is important. They don't understand, we're not licensed trappers, we're not ADC trappers, we're just fur trappers. But she had caught a skunk in her, they had just had a litter of kitties, and the kitties were in the garage. They moved the kittens to the barn, they put the food out there in the barn, and they go to pet the little kitties, and there's a skunk in there. And so the kids go in the house screaming, the mom goes back out, and it was in a wire, the skunk, like it was a cage that was for their kids are in 4-H, and it's like a rabbit. They move this rabbit cage around the yard, and the rabbits can eat the grass. So there's no bottom on the cage. The top lifts up, and then there's a little rabbit hole door. Well, they had just blocked the rabbit hole door, and there sits the skunk. And so she calls, Sarah, I just learned that you're a trapper. Could you come take care of this skunk? I'm like, this is not the kind of trapping that I do.
Send Jeff.
So I go in the house. I say, Jeff. And normally he's like, you know, we just, you know, don't really. It's our neighbor. I say, we got to help our neighbors out. So off we go. Can't move the cage. We didn't know what we were going to do. Ended up, we took the live skunk trap, moved the sawdust back, they had a bag of sawdust covering the hole. We uncovered the hole. We put the skunk tube trap right there. And then the skunk just slowly went right into that little tube trap. And oh my gosh, it worked. We saw it work right in action. Skunk crossed the pan, the door dropped, and all is well. But, you know, that stuff, I don't know.
People just don't understand animals. I mean, that's the thing. I grew up on, I mean, I wasn't born and raised on a farm, but I grew up on a farm with a man by the name of Ralph Cooper. And he taught me to work. And he taught me things about farm animals. And then my dad was very instrumental in teaching me animal behavior because he was an outdoorsman.
Sure.
And there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's a raccoon in town, it's still a wild animal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even with that skunk, it was a good opportunity for us to educate that it's not, the skunk isn't a vicious or, I mean, it can be, but the perception of a skunk was they were screaming, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, you know what, and you walk up and it was a time where we're going to talk slow and move slowly and keep our voice down, and then we went and we released the skunk out of the tube trap, and, you know, it was education for all of them, and, you know, we weren't doing the skunk harm, and it was cool to see the kids just transform from, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, to, you know, seeing it run away in a productive way.
Actually waddle away.
Yeah.
Because that's what a skunk does.
Yep.
The thing about skunks is if one's beating his feet on the ground,
Oh, yeah.
it's time to get out of Dodge
Yep.
because the bomb is about to go off. I had a gentleman call me. The police had given him my number, and he goes, we're trying to catch this raccoon in my garage, and we ended up catching a skunk. What do I do? Mm-hmm. I said, well, you caught him. And I said, for a price, I'll come and get him and take care of it. He never did want to do that, but I did education. Yeah. I told him, I said, you have a bomb in your garage. Mm-hmm. Keep him calm, or it's going to go off. If you shoot that skunk, the bomb is going to go off. Yep. I said, in Illinois, we cannot release a skunk once it's caught. And I told him, I said, you have to euthanize that skunk. You're also supposed to have a nuisance permit, but I didn't go there with him on that sort of thing. But anyhow, education. Back to it. Education.
Yep. Yeah, that's why, you know, we see a lot of kids. We're here at the NTA, and kids coming up to the booth and just bringing them around to see the things and to experience the kids' cave. And, you know, I had a little girl, she sat through the demo. I don't know if she's ever trapped before or not, but teaching them the ways so they don't become they're not against us in the end. They have an early education on how important it is, and they don't have to do it, but as long as they're not against it.
Well, the other thing is we've found that if animals are not, because we've taken away all of their timbers and a lot of their habitat, it's called carrying capacity. there is no carrying capacity right now for the raccoons and some of the skunks and the other things, because every hole is filled up with an animal. They've got babies, they've got this going on, they got that going on, and then there's the bullies, the some of the male animals, and they do things that we think are disgusting, but that's what they do. That's the life for them animals. And if you've ever, cats do things to their that if they're not their offspring, they'll kill them, and that's, we think that's terrible, but that's the way animals think and the way animals do, and we're just out there trying to be caretakers, and trying to do what is right. And education is to me is the right thing to do, because you can teach somebody who has a mind that thinks that way, that is educated, and instead of somebody who's really radical about things. Calm down, just kind of try to get along, and just when the opportunities come up, then express the teaching part of it, and you'll make friends, and sometimes you can't make friends because they just want to be an enemy, but that's what they want to be. That's their choice at that time.
I remember you said some interesting thing. A lot of times, us trappers, we don't know what to say to educate. We don't know how to put the right words in to make it relatable or understandable, or all of that. But what you made a comment yesterday when that lady was pleading with you to not kill that raccoon, and you told her the reasons. She wanted to relocate it. And the way you explained that to that lady, I thought, that's something that we could, share with somebody else. But you want to share with kind of how you explained it to that lady?
Well, what I told her is the first thing you're going to do when you take that raccoon out of his area that it lives, because of the carrying capacity, there's no place for the babies, and she's going to have to fight to protect them. The first thing that's going to happen, she's going to run across a bully, which is usually a male raccoon. It's in the area that you just moved that raccoon into, and I think that's cruel, because that male raccoon is going to kill those babies. It is just a fact of life. It's going to happen. The next thing that's going to happen is he's going to take her, and he's going to breed her, and if she refuses, he's going to kill her. And that's another fact of life. It's just one of those things that's going to happen. So I can understand, I've always worried about being a cold-blooded killer. I mean, I had a friend that sat me down one day and told me, he says, Bobby, animals. God calls us all to do certain things, and you're good at what you do. And the animals, and you know what it's going to take. And it's your passion. So, that's being used and utilized because it's a gift. And I don't shirk it.
Yeah, no, I just thought that was a good analogy for somebody that didn't know the real
thing is there's no place for that little raccoon to go.
Yep.
And now we've taken it out there, and we've exposed it to all these things, and it's going to die, but it's going to die a slow death, and nobody wants that. So my license tells me of certain things that there are certain animals I can release. I can't release them very far from where I catch them, but I can release some I can't. The raccoon's not supposed to be released.
Yep. I'm sure you get some crazy calls.
Yeah, I had one. I was telling Sarah about the snake. I got a snake calling guy. He couldn't even talk straight.
That would so be me calling you.
I couldn't even get the address straight, so I started going that direction, and when I got close, I tried calling him again, and he wouldn't answer the phone. I'm going, oh, great, I'm not going to find this guy. I finally found him, and he'd ran this this snake off into a flagpole that was laying on the ground. And then he took a can on a stick and ran it in there. And I think he pinched the tail of the snake, because I went to the other end of the pipe and I put a fur bag over it and I cinched it down with my catch pole. I dragged it all out underneath this deck and then banged the one end of that had the bag on it down on the ground to try to make the snake fall into the sack. Anyhow, it didn't happen. So I got up on the deck, I pulled the stick out, went back, banged the thing down. The snake went down into the bag, and the next thing I know is I heard zzz,
Oh my gosh.
and I thought, oh, I got a rattler in here, because I hadn't seen the snake yet. Well, it wasn't a rattler. But anyhow, this species of snake will rattle his tail back and forth in this sack, and he was rubbing against the sack and making that noise. Then I just picked the sack up, tied a knot in it, dropped it in a bucket. I took the snake a little ways away and I released him. It was a big black rat snake. The guy said he was like about probably 5 foot long. He was more like 6 to 8 foot long, and he was very mad when I took him, put him out on the ground. But his big rat snake, they're good to have around. They kill rats and mice and all kinds of stuff. The problem is he came around the corner of his garage and whoa, there's a snake, and I thought he was having a coronary.
That would be me. That is absolutely me. I'm hyperventilating. I can't talk. I'm screaming. Yeah, Jeff. And I swear every time Jeff is, what? I didn't see nothing. How could you miss it?
Probably intentional. No,
exactly.
Jeff.
That's what I think it is. It's like we go trapping down south and the guys have figured out they just don't say anything. They just don't tell me if there's a snake. They
just want Sarah to work. They don't want her to look.
Yeah,
they just want her to work.
They don't tell me. Oh goodness. So you don't do much snake work, though?
I try not to. I mean, if I can explain something to somebody that he's just going to crawl away or whatever. A lot of times the garter snakes, they're not hurting anything. I understand, that people have phobias and all that sort of thing, but it's a piece of wildlife. It's a creation that was given to us to eat bugs. They have got a purpose. We don't kill every one of them. Rattlesnakes, they keep populations down of rats and mice and some of the other poisonous snakes too. I don't really, tell you, I talk about cringe, and I don't like them. And I don't want to have a whole lot to do with them, and that's why it costs so much for me to move a snake. And I don't move them far because I'm not supposed to take them except outside and move them and take them, make sure they're not going to bother anybody.
Mm-hmm. I know the guys that are like down south that do beaver work, and they're out in the swamps, and there's lots of cottonmouths and dangerous snakes out on beaver dams in the summertime. Carl sends me pictures of them just to torment me.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing to do. They find out you've got something. That's when they're going to work on you. The thing that would bother me, probably working down south, would be the alligators. Catching an alligator in a 330 and having to release him, and that sort of stuff. And hopefully I didn't kill him,
Yeah.
We're reaching your hand down in to do something around the beaver dam, and there'd be one down in there. I don't think I'd care for that too much.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun when you got a great big old beaver, and I know you've had them where they pulled the rods out of the water, and they're laying up on top of a beaver dam or up on the up on top of the ground. And I'm going, I had a 74 pounder. I've caught two 74 pounders, and that first 74 pounder I caught, she was laying up on top of the dam waiting for me. And let me tell you, that was a wrestling match.
Yeah. We had a 72 pound. We have a scale in Iowa, but we don't have a scale in Michigan, and we didn't take. Anyway, everybody was asked what's the biggest beaver you caught, but we had a 72 pound, in Iowa, way far down. Iowa's river system is like very steep river banks to get to it, and Jeff had caught a big that's where he caught that. I helped him carry it out, and I think they took a video of it and posted it on a reel. That was a heavy one.
I drug this one out with a 4-wheeler. Yeah. I always keep a rope around, and I took an extension cable and tied it onto the rope, and then I half hitched the loop over a back foot, and I drug her out to the top, and then I tried to roll her on top of the 4-wheeler by myself. You know what? It was really pretty tough doing that, but once I got her to the truck and she's starting to stiffen up a little bit, I could roll her around real good.
Yeah.
Then I had a guy take a picture of her in my sled. Well, her tail was sticking out the one side of the sled, and her head was clear up at the other end of it. Yeah, they were kind of clowning around about that, but yeah, I'm down alone a lot down in the bottoms. I carry a cell phone. I've got two guys that keep an eye on me or want to know where I'm at. So in case anything happens, and that's, you got to have buddies.
Yep. And
Jeremy Holtz and Jeff. I can't think of Jeff's last name right at the moment, but anyhow, Jeff. They keep an eye on me in case something would happen, and because things in those levee ditches, they tend to, you get your foot down in a beaver dam and you might get caught. You can't get it out, or if you get caught with a trap, So
I was just gonna ask if you had any help at any point in time in the business doing that kind of stuff, but
I don't have any. Matter of fact, this guy that I caught the snake, he asked me, he says, do you have anybody that helps you or anything like that? And I said, nope. I said, nowadays they'd have to work. And that was, it's hard work, and in the summertime it's hot work.
Yep.
And if you're in an attic, it's miserable work. And I try not to do it in the attics. I try to catch them on the ground or catch them on the edge of a roof or something like that. And then you've got your groundhogs. I love to trap groundhogs. I like to hunt the groundhogs. I like to set up a pop-up tent and get me a nice cold drink and bipod and a 17-inch MR and go to work.
Yep.
Last year I took 11 groundhogs out of one farm, and half of them were taken with a rifle. That was fun.
Yep. I was talking to a guy, came up to the booth today. He had went to the beaver demo I did at the main stage, which was the demo went really well. I showed him how to trap the beaver, and then I skinned the beaver, and then I had the 4 crock pots of all the beaver roast. Anyway, this guy...
I seen you guys eating that stuff.
Yeah, I had 250 bowls, and I didn't have very many bowls left. I looked at the package today, I'm like, well, went through all those bowls, so we fed a lot of people. That was a fun demo to do. Stressed out about it, but... there's a lot of moving parts to...
Well, I used to take, and this is off the subject just a little bit, but I used to take a crock pot, and I would get a limit of squirrels, and then another limit of squirrels, because you can have double your limit of squirrels, and we would take and cook them down, and they would make them like pulled pork.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you what, you strain out all the little bones and everything like that. You take a loaf of bread and you go to work. You ain't got enough bread.
Yeah.
the guys will. Yeah. They really like that. So we had wildlife feeds at work too.
Yeah. I was just talking to Harry from F&T, and he is passionate about smoking food, and he's got a smokehouse, like it's an actual house. And he smokes a lot of meat. We went out and caught a bunch of salmon and trout on Lake Michigan, or I think it was Lake Huron, and took them to Harry. He smoked them all, which he did an amazing job. But he was just talking yesterday about smoking squirrel meat, and I thought that would be... I got my little dog, She
it's better.
loves
It's
it.
better than pork.
Yeah.
It is better than pork.
Me and Harry, he says, you should do a cookbook, Sarah. I said, well, maybe me and Harry could do one together. He likes cooking all that stuff. And
Get him on here.
yeah, I think he's been on here before a time or two, but yeah.
Nope.
So
You guys will have a lot of content. You just keep plugging away. Trapping and hunting and all this kind of stuff all ties together. And if you can communicate to the community and get it to where they'll contribute their cookbooks, their recipes, their this, their that, it can be a lot of fun. It really can. I've listened to Trapping Radio since Clint started it, and now you guys got it. I'm glad you have it now. I think Clint's kind of glad to get away from it for a while and all that sort of stuff. So it's a changing of the guard. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's new ideas. There's more than one person involved in it, and it'll improve and it will. I listened to Clint for years. He helped me, and he didn't know it, but he helped me learn to trap. I am a member of the Fur Brigade. I did feel that it was important for me to contribute somehow, some way to Trapping Radio because it didn't cost me anything. So I put it wasn't much money. It's only like $30 or something like that a year. And what I did is then I received opportunity to get 10% off of everything I bought from Funky. And Funky's only a couple hundred miles away. And I have my stuff the next day if I get it in early enough.
Yep.
So
they do a great job.
And I'll tell you what, Alan is a great guy, but he has got a little workhorse in that place.
Little Alan.
He's called Little Alan. That man, he'll answer that phone. Hey, Bobby, what you need? And off we go.
Yep.
And then I come to the conventions, and then I start picking up things that I have dreamed of having and couldn't either afford at the time. Now that I do some ADC work, and I'm retired. Other than that, and I can afford it now. And I just got myself my own crimper.
Ooh.
And my tabletop crimper, and I've got a few other things. I got the beaver knife. I got that beaver knife that you guys are using
the caribou
too.
knife, huh?
Yep.
With the rounded
I love
rounded
it.
blade.
Yep, and what I like about it more than anything is the grind, that the way they ground the blade on it. And what that will allow you to do is once you sharpen the knife, or it's already sharp, believe me.
Yes.
Then when you come back and steel that knife or ceramic that knife, it'll pick that edge back up and roll it back up straight. And man, that thing is going to be sweet.
Yeah,
this year.
I don't know how to sharpen. This caribou knife, has been with me through my learning process. So I've ran it so dull that it wouldn't cut anything, to me attempting to learn how to sharpen it, to Mike here, he's gotten it on the right track, but that knife has been through all the growing pains with me and still is a great knife. Yeah.
I used to buy the cheaper knife, and I'm always sharpening it. Always. It's just not worth it. So. But
yeah, Alan carries that full line of caribou knives, from the fleshing knives to the skinning knives to all the knives. So. Pretty new. But yeah, you mentioned the Fur Brigade. We hadn't really talked much about that on the Trapping Radio show. But that's furbrigade.com or trfurbrigade.com.
I'm not sure anymore. It's on my computer. I just punched the button.
Hit the button. And like you said, it's a membership thing. And there's several different dealers that have codes on there. And Funky being one of them. Dunlap Lures is on there. I'm on there with She Traps. Trapline Coffee is on there. J3 Outdoors with the Hags products is on there with discounts. Southern Snares. There's a whole bunch of them. And then...
and you get a percentage off of what you're... they give a code, and then you get a percentage off on your stuff, and it pays for itself. I'm telling you, if you're a hardcore little trapper, it'll pay for itself because you need supplies.
Yeah, and it just helps us offset the server costs and the all the costs that the monthly cost with the IT stuff and all of that slowly learning. So Clint had it set up a whole different way, so. And then we put free videos up on there. The DVDs are on there. You can watch them digitally on there and try to change it up every month.
Have you still got Clint's DVDs up too? Is trapping, how to trap it?
Yep, we have how to trap it.
Okay.
And
that was very good. And Newt Sterling was on there. That was a hoot.
Oh yeah.
And you had an interview with him.
Yeah, I had an interview with him.
That was a hoot too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had to sit in his van to do that interview, and it was something in that van. He smokes, I don't know, they're brown looking cigarette things.
Ew.
I don't know.
I don't smoke.
He's got in that van. It stunk so bad, and then he lightened that thing up. I said, "You're gonna have to, cut that to a minimum for an hour here." I said, "You got me all choked up."
Secondhand smoke.
Good Lord, yeah. Oh boy, he's a character. So is there anything else you're looking forward to at the convention, or something that you said you went to the banquet last night?
I'm going to the bank. I went to the banquet last night. I'm going to go to the auction dinner tonight, and then probably somewhere around noonish tomorrow, I'm probably going to pack up and I'm going to head for Morton, Illinois, and I'm taking some stuff down for Dave. He's going to go somewhere north with his wife, and they're going to spend a few days up here in the North Woods, and I'm going to take his stuff to his house, drop it off, and then I'm going to make a beeline for Quincy, Illinois, through Springfield, Illinois.
Yep.
That's kind of the game plan.
Yep. Well, we're finishing up the NTA here, and then we've got a week off, and we're going to fill some orders and probably restock from this show, and then we'll be in Minnesota at that convention. And then the highlight of my summer, I am looking forward to going to the Iowa State Fair. I'm from Iowa originally, and the Iowa State Fair, have you ever been there?
Not the Iowa State Fair. I've been to several Iowa conventions.
Yeah.
And I love them Iowa conventions. There are a lot of people that come to them, and I like them.
Yeah. The State Fair is they have over 1 million people every year attend their state fair, their Iowa State Fair. So if you're from Iowa, you know what I'm talking about. Or you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. All the food. They got 64 new foods at the state fair this year. So I'm so excited. Highlight of my summer is being able to go to the fair. And then from there, we do not have a weekend off until October 12th. And then coyote season starts October 15th.
Wow.
So we're on the road the rest of the summer. So.
Well, the other thing is if you go to the Iowa State Fair, I imagine you're going to see all the goofy politicians.
Yep. They'll be there.
Yep.
So, well, I saw Jeff just left for his 1:00 demo. He's doing it with Mark Zager. So that's gonna be a hoot.
That will be a hoot.
Zager, I didn't hear the whole conversation. I heard part of it, and I probably shouldn't repeat it, but Zager comes to the booth and he says, "So Jeff, are we still going to do this? Are we still?" Because they talked about it, and
Zager's wound up.
Yes, and they didn't give Zager a demo slot at this show.
Uh-oh.
So Jeff said, "Well, you can do it with me." But Zager thought maybe he was joking or serious, and all I heard Jeff was say, "Yes, Zager, we're doing it, and you are the fluffer." So that's how it's starting out. And, I don't know, so.
I can see it happening right now.
Yeah, so I got to watch the booth while he's down and doing that. And, all right. On that note, we'll sign off. But, Bobby, thanks for making the time to sit down for an hour, and appreciate it.
Well,
So no, it's busy, so.
I tell you what, I support Trapping Radio. I
Thank
support you guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything you're doing, and please keep up the good work. And hey, everybody, listen to this, because Sarah's new into trapping, but she's had some good teachers. Jeff Dunlap, he's a little slow talker, but he's got a sharp mind.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So he's a very good lure maker. I use his big pile, and I use some of Dave's stuff. I'm amazed at some of the lure makers that are here that really little known people, but they got great stuff. Mm-hmm. And Jeff's got some great stuff. And by the way, so does Sarah. She's
right up there. Yeah,
yes, you get
better
right
than
up
Jeff's.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Also, if you've still got them little T-shirts, I need something for a 7-year-old and something for a 2-year-old boy.
I got you.
So
yeah,
I'll come up and I'm going to have to buy something for them kids, because they're going to say, "Papa, what'd you bring us?"
Yeah.
Last time I seen you all, which was, I think, I saw you at the Illinois, but I saw you at Springfield, Missouri, I think is the time. And I bought I think it was something for Evelyn, was like a T-shirt. One of them said, Trapper, what was it? Papa's Little Trapper, or Trapper in Training. That's what they were.
Yeah.
I think I bought 2 of those.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, them kids, they wear them.
Yeah.
They wear them down at my house anyway.
Yeah, well, thanks for bearing with us, to everybody listening. Like you said, it's kind of been a learning curve, and it's a little different, especially, I know, for Jeff, just to sit and talk for an hour, like talking to himself. So, we'll get better at it, but thanks for bearing with us in this transition period. So, like I said, Bobby, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody have a good week.